Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Network special new podcast called the Photographic Memory Podcast. I'm excited to welcome to the program Dr. Shannon Panzo. Dr. Shannon, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's a great day here in Australia.
I'm excited
How
about
about
this podcast because of one reason, and that reason is again, you are an expert. You're an expert on photographic memory, mental photography, the Zux Pro method, which we'll get into, and lastly, again, mentoring, which we'll talk about in further episodes. So let's go and discuss. People here, I've heard the word photographic memory all the time. What is photographic memory?
well, the photographic memory starts at the beginning of your life. It's back then it's called the eidetic memory. Now, the eidetic memory is not something that is easily said. It doesn't sit on your tongue very well, and most people forget it. I know whenever I started saying the eidetic memory, I often screwed it up. I had to think about how it was spelled even. So that just reflects just how much people dislike the word. So when it comes to the photographic memory, what that is now, okay, let's go back to the eidetic memory. The eidetic memory is what you're born with. It has to do with all your senses: seeing, touching, hearing, smelling, tasting, and also your sixth sense as well. It has to do with all those things. This is how you learn all these incredible things at the beginning of life. And you use this uh, intensely for the first 5 years of your life. And this is actually your photographic memory. Now, the reason why we call it the photographic memory is because somewhere along the line, people said, gee, eidetic memory is too hard to say, and it's difficult for the common folk to be able to remember what it means. So somebody said, well, why don't we just call it the photographic memory instead? And that's how the eidetic memory became the photographic memory. This is also the reason why there's a lot of contention out there. A lot of people say, well, the photographic memory doesn't exist. In a way, they're right, because the photographic memory is an invented term that defines the eidetic memory. So essentially, yeah, they are right, but they're not giving credence to the eidetic memory that we're born with. So because we're born with the eidetic memory and it's part of our brain structure, we never actually lose it. It's with us forever. We start to lose contact with it when we go to school. Whenever most people go to school, what happens is we learn how to read. In order to learn how to read, it is taught at 180 degrees away from photographic memory. Now, what this means, this beautiful natural way of learning that we had with us for the first 5 years of our life, suddenly our teachers are telling us, oh, that's no good anymore. You have to abandon that. You have to get away from that infantile way of learning and become an adult. Well, this is how we learned so much so well for all that time. Now suddenly we're having to change the way we're doing things. This is one of the reasons why whenever you have children, those children before the age of 5, you'll say, "My child is genius," and you're absolutely right. And after a couple of years in school, you wonder what the heck happened to your genius child. It's gone. You now have a little dummy. Well, these little adults, they know what's happening, but uh, they're not in the authoritarian position to push their agenda. They have to listen to what the teachers say. And of course, as a good parent, you tell your child, now you have to listen to what the teacher says. And so this is the way that it happens, and you end up losing access to your photographic memory. You haven't lost your photographic memory, you have just lost access. Now, every day of your life, this is the reason why, even today, your photographic memory is very, very strong within you.
Right.
Every day of your life, you are exposed to subliminal advertising and subliminal suggestion outside of your normal perception. This uses your photographic memory against you. So this is the reason why your photographic memory is very strong. All you need to do is take control back. And that's what I teach people
Wow.
how to do. I teach people how to take control back of their photographic memory and how to use it for the rest of their life. And by doing so, you have the ability then to negate the influence from all these subliminal ads and subliminal influence and things like this. So you can definitely take control of your mind by dealing with your photographic memory. Your photographic memory should be something that you treat as it's your holy grail of brain development. It's completely natural, and you can use it forever and ever. It's really, it's really up to you as to how much you want to use it. And this is what I teach. I teach people how to utilize it. We have the Zox Pro. We have other methodologies that are available as well. And of course, the way that I do this is I teach people using mental photography. Mental photography, what that is, it's a way of taking in information. You take in information starting at 25 to 50,000 words per minute. Now, your average reader, now this is again what they've taught you in school, your average reader reads around 250 words per minute. And after 48 hours, you're only left with about 5% of the material to be tested on.
Wow.
This is why people cram for tests, so that they can pound that stuff in and try to get as much in their brain in their short-term memory right before taking a test. And that's why they're trying to do that. Well, it doesn't work too well. This is why testing is a very stressful circumstance. Whenever you are using the photographic memory or the mental photography, the information goes into your long-term memory. You get 100% of the information, and it's there for life. Now all you have to do is recall it. And there's techniques that we use to help people recall the information as well.
Now, talk about how you were introduced to mental photography or photographic memory. I guess you'd say it's definitely mental photography.
Over 35 years ago, back in 1985, I had the opportunity to learn mental photography from the founder of all this himself. His name is Dr. Richard Welch. And Dr. Richard Welch taught me all about everything that there was to know about mental photography and how to deal with my subconscious mind and a lot of other great things as well. And right out of the chute, I was able to basically test this. And uh, probably 2 weeks after I learned this, I was given the opportunity to take a test that I was not qualified to take. And so I went and I went down the library and I got about 40 or so reference books dealing with very in-depth topics like chemistry to nuclear chemistry, physics to
Right.
nuclear physics, uh, uh, nuclear medicine, all different sorts of things that you would not, you would look at and go, holy cow, you're planning on digesting all this stuff in this amount of time? Well, yeah, that was the test. So the test that I was going to be going for that I wasn't qualified to do, well, these are some of the topics that were going to be on that test. So this is what the information I accumulated. What ended up happening is I spent the next 3 days, 12 to 16 hours a day, doing nothing but the mental photography and doing meditation sessions to recoup my energies, because it's very stressful and time consuming doing it in such long periods of time like this. And but Richard Welch, uh, Richard Welch told me that this is the way to blow the doors off the system, is to really hit it hard. And that's what he used to say is blowing the doors off the system. But today we actually have a word for this. It's accelerated neuroplasticity, where the brain actually accommodates this new this new level of just intense exercise. And so I had this opportunity. I went into the test, and gee, first thing they hand me, the test is actually a book. Now, what I've learned to do at this point is mentally photograph books. So while everybody else is starting up the test, I go into a meditation session, which really upsets everybody around me. And when I go out of the meditation session, I'm getting ready to mentally photograph this book, which is called, the test. And so I start flipping these pages at a very high rate of speed, like mental photography is. And again, the people around me are getting really upset with me. The proctor comes by and basically wanting to know what the heck I'm doing. And I'm taking the test. That's what I'm doing. Um, so anyhow, to make a long story short, uh, at the beginning of the test, the proctor stood up there and said, this is a time test. You have a certain amount of time to take this test. You got to answer all the questions or you will fail. And of course, putting even more stress on people. So after all that, after me taking extra time to do the right thing, I was one of the first ones done with the test. In fact, I was the first one done with the test. I tried to turn the test in, and they said, "No, go back and sit down. You haven't spent enough time taking the test yet. I guess you have to. I guess you have to take enough time to validate that you've actually taken the test." So I waited for somebody else to go up and have their paper put in, and I went and turned my book in after that, the test book. And so that's how basically I was the first one done, but in this case here, I guess I cataloged in as the second one done.
What's really
Okay,
amazing is that you prove that it works from your
right,
mentor taught you it and say, hey, I can do this.
right. Now, there were over 300 people taking this same test right along with me. Now, keep in mind, I wasn't qualified to take the test in the first place. Uh, now we were supposed to get the results in 2 weeks. A week later, I get a call from Briggs Myers, which is about half the test was involved in Briggs Myers profiling, logical deduction test. And they called me up and they said, "Well, have you ever seen a test like this before?" No. I thought, to start with, this is kind of weird that they're calling me. Well, we got a problem with your test scores. Oh, really? Well, you've never seen a test like this before. No. They accused me of cheating. They were wondering if I had been contacted by another organization and or been given the answers to the test, of which I hadn't. And so I was kind of perplexed about all this. And they said, "Well, we have a problem with your test scores because this test is made to fail people, not pass people." I said, "Well, if you give me a test, I'm going to put my effort forth to pass the test." And they said, "Well, you only missed one question." I said, "Yes, it was the last question on the test, and these are the four answers, and the two answers were exactly the same, except that the syntax was different, and I guess I must have picked the wrong one. So I actually got it right, but in your score, I got it wrong. That's okay." And at that point, they said they heard enough.
Wow. So basically what we learn is that you learn from your mentor how to use mental photography and be able to gain lots of knowledge very fast to take a test you're not qualified for. So how can people right now go if they want to have your knowledge base? You're offering right now at zuxpro.com. People could go and take the course right now, right? If they go there.
Right. Zoxpro.com is the most distilled down version. It's geared to give you results, and that's what it does. Now, the thing is, there is a learning curve. You have to go for this thing and use you have to use everything that we give you. They're simple exercises, but you have to use all the exercises daily because they work synchronistically with each other. So you have to use all those at the same, each day. When you use those all the same day, you will reach the results that you want to see quicker. If you don't use all the pieces of the puzzle, then you're shortchanging yourself. You're going to take a lot longer to get to where you want to be. So, that's what we have there. Now, some people say, well, how long is it going to take me? Well, that depends upon the person. It depends upon your belief. It depends upon how much you're going to be using the training, how much you integrate it with your current studies or your current job. Everything that you do, we suggest that you actually go and employ these techniques to whatever you're using in life. And that's how life is. It's just a matter of you. It's a matter of you rearranging a few things and doing the right thing for yourself. And yes, you will be automatically using the photographic memory whenever you're using the mental photography.
Okay. Well, great. Another great opportunity for people if they go to zuxpro.com. And next episode, we're going to talk about the benefits if you use the ZuxPro method and learn mental photography, photographic memory, that you're going to gain lots of benefits. We'll discuss that in episode 2.
Thank you for having me today, and I look forward to it.
All right. Take care. All right, guys. That was the Photographic Memory Podcast. Take care.